Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the April edition of the Canyon Country Advisory Committee. Tonight, as usual, we'll have our call to order and flag salute with announcements. Then Charmaine Navarro is here to give us a heads up on Henry Mayo's community education. Then I'm going to go through the discussion of the Santa Clarita Valley Sanitation District and the latest news on recycled water. We've been following it, but we have additional information, and we're going to continue with it from there. Also, then we'll talk about Santa Clarita Valley watershed stewardship. And since Mr. Cole is here, I'm sure he's going to be able to help us through that discussion, because there's a lot of questions that I'm sure he'll be able to answer for us. I think it's interesting. I picked this out of the paper because of how easy it is to get the wrong idea and go to the wrong place for information. So this is an article about an excellent idea to help the homeless, and they talk about the prospective shelter being on Drayton, and then they say, "I applaud your concept and pray the city will perhaps purchase and donate this land to bridge your home for a year-round shelter for a few fellow people." And from that, you'd think, well, maybe this person is not really up on it because they've already donated the property. But as it turns out, if you go back and look at what she was referencing, or he was referencing, they happen to be referencing the abandoned mobile home park in Canyon Country. So that was what they were talking about. But if you just read a particular thing in the paper, and that's all you see is that one little piece, and in a lot of cases you don't go back and find out what they're talking about, you get the wrong idea. So with that, we're going to do a homeless shelter update, and I'm going to use the City Council presentation charts. And of course, Mr. Brawley is here, and he's on the board of Bridge to Home. He's going to be able to help us also. Then we're going to do a little bit about senior affordable housing. Hopefully we'll get through this whole thing this evening. And this is about a developer agreement. When the City of Santa Clarita, or when developers approach the City of Santa Clarita to build some affordable housing, the City Council gave them some dispensations or some incentives to build here in Santa Clarita. And based on that, they gave them a 30-year contract. They signed a 30-year contract. And so we're going to talk about that because it seems like no one seems to remember this. And for some reason, when this subject got brought up by some seniors, I decided to go chase it down. And so I've got some of the information now, and then there are some questions that I've asked the city that they're going to come back and talk to us about. So every time we have one of these discussions, every time we talk about things here at the Canyon Country Advisory Committee, I normally look for something that was exceptional that happened to talk about. And in this case, I'd like to talk about a gentleman named Mosem Chowdhury. You've probably seen his pictures up. He's the pharmacist in Newhall. And he is a really interesting community member. And his group, the community he represents, is our local Islamic community. They have I guess you would call it a mosque in Newhall, which is the old post office. And there's also a community center right here on Sierra Highway. And it's interesting because too many times when we listen to stories about people in the Middle East, we hear about Sunnis and Shiites fighting each other and killing each other. Well, these guys are neither Sunnis nor Shiites. They follow a different sect, and they're very patriotic. They love the country. They are a really good group of people, and Mosem is trying to get that word out in the best way he can. And what he did was last Sunday night, he rented the activity center and fed 250 people that he invited to come there to listen to his special guests, which were elected officials. And he invited Katie Hill, Christy Smith, he invited Wilk, and he invited all the city council. And only Katie Hill and Christy Smith showed up. But I think it was exceptional because it shows how this group is trying to assimilate into the community and how they are good community members. And here to show you, it really was a big event, and it was 250 people. She's planning to do it again next year and make it bigger. So we'll see what happens. And then here are the community organizers. So, you know, you have diversity in the community, and not only is the community diverse, but its diversity is represented by some really nice people. And I think that we should do everything we can to accept individuals in the community who have our same values for having a good community, a clean community, a strong America, and we'll just watch what's happening. So the first thing they did in their event is the same thing we're going to do. They had the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Would you do this, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, thank you. For announcements, it's kind of pretty much the same as we had last month, because a lot of things that happened either haven't happened or are still going on. So there's the art festival, and by the way, I sent out last month. I sent out these announcements in PDF, so you don't have to copy anything down or pretend that you can't. You can read the eye charts up above behind you, and I'll do the same thing again. So there's the arts festivals that are going on, and they're going on through April the 28th. There's a whole list of events that are happening at Hart Park. And Hart Park is really getting anxious to make things happen this year. So take a look at that on when I send it to you, and you'll be able to see all the different things that Hart Park is doing. By the way, there was a question today that I heard at the Old Town New Hall Association, and as I don't know whether you're all aware of it, but within a couple of weeks, they will no longer be the senior center will have moved into their new building. Okay, Mary Jane here is from the Committee on Aging, who's been championing that, and there is a lot of discussion about what's going to be in that building. And someone had said when we were discussing it the other day, and someone brought it up today, and they said, "Well, is that where the homeless shelter is going to be?" And the answer is no. The answer is no. That they have an agreement with Bridge to Home, and they have already provided the property. So, and they're not really sure yet what that's going to be. So, but that building is going to go vacant, and and we're going to be in a new senior center in a couple of weeks. Oh, that's right. That's right. What date? April 24th, 10 o'clock in the morning will be the ribbon cutting. There you go.
Do they have pool tables?
Excuse me?
Do they have pool tables?
They have pool tables at the ribbon cutting? I doubt it, but they might have it in the senior center.
Eventually they'll get it. We have them all.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and you want pool tables.
Okay. All right. I'll pass that along. You know, I'll make sure that everybody and don't let that dog bite you there. You know. All right. Anyway, for the Boys and Girls Club, there is a golf tournament, amateur golf tournament on April the 27th to 28th. We've talked about this for several months for the artist run, and that is, there should be a date here on, where was it? Where was the date? I was sure there. Oh, yeah, April the 27th. It's hidden. You can see it's hidden in the there in the corner. Saturday on June the 1st, there is going to be a, okay, well, it's going to be there anyway. With featuring hundreds of exciting live and silent auction items and at the Hyatt. And if you want to reserve a table, you can do so or become a sponsor.
So I hope, I've been following Measure E, College of the Canyon, since the day it passed. Had an unfortunate year of being banned by a restraining order. But I keep following them, and I got these from the Fair Political Practices Commission this afternoon, and I have followed every one of the major donors. Each one of these companies gave over $10,000 to pass that abomination for College of the Canyons. So finally, they're going to investigate the fact that they did not file the necessary forms. And this doesn't mean that they're guilty. It doesn't mean they're convicted. It means that I said, you have to drive down to Norwalk to look at the political contributions and campaigns. They are not online. The major donors are maintained in a file of 1,600 pages listed alphabetically. So to be even able to find the information is exhaustive. But you know what? I've got at least 12 of them now, including the College of the Canyons Foundation, which gave over $150,000 to pass that bond measure. Over $400,000 was used by largely companies that benefit from passing contracts, including Lundgren Management, that has the contract to build the science center there. They gave $105,000 and got the contract. I am following these people. I'm not giving up. I go to the meetings. What I want you to do is that they make me wait through the entire meeting to speak on a non-agenda item. You know how, like, city council works? You come, you want to speak on a non-agenda item, you get to speak at the front, right? First 10 people. Okay, thank you. College of the Canyons literally makes people that came to speak on non-agenda items wait through all the agenda items. The last meeting, I had to wait 4 hours, and they will not consider changing that item. So I would like to get your help in the future weeks. And I'm told, well, you're just one person. It's the old. Thank you, Alan.
We'll get more. We'll make more. All right. Well, thank you. Next month, I know for sure that Captain Lewis will be here to present his latest efforts in law enforcement, and I guess Fanny will be here also. Lampkin. Yeah, she will be here to talk about volunteer items at the Sheriff's Department. And I'm just absolutely positive that some other things are going to come up between now and then that will end up on the agenda. It just seems to always work that way. But anyway, I'd like to thank you for choosing to visit the Canyon Country Advisory Committee this April, and I hope to see you back again next month. Thank you very much.